Welcome into the Boneyard Podcast. I'm Matt Mosley, Cory Campbell with me, coming off a 37-8 victory over Richardson. And Coach, I always appreciate about you, no matter what the score is, you all gave up a block kick that was returned to make it 30-2. And you were just as intense in that moment as if the game, everything was on the line. And so y'all coached them all the way through. But just overall, before we really get into the nitty gritty of the game, just the overall evening. It was senior night, for those of us that have cheerleaders and Highlandettes and the whole thing. That was a really special time. Halftime, the band had a lot of things involved there. And so that had to be kind of interesting for you because it was even longer halftime than usual. But a special night, and then for you to stand out there and watch your seniors come through the cat head. Hopefully not the last time because maybe we'll get a home playoff game, but to honor them in that way, and of course their representatives met them at midfield. What did that mean to you? And because it was a special evening.
Yeah, most definitely. I think when I look back selfishly at what this game has done for me, then I kind of play it forward to our seniors every year, and to be able to, shake their hands and tell them I love them and give them a hug and just to think back briefly, because we do have an important game about to kick off, but think back briefly, on everything that they've done, and they're 17, 18-year-old kids. Their mind doesn't work quite like ours does, in that facet, but it was special. And then on top of that, to go out and and play like we did, just really proud of our kids. We've talked all season about, every year in the summer, we really talk to our captains and our team about our goals. And, to be able to accomplish one of those goals, two of those goals, we marked off the city championship Friday night. And that was a big deal. And then having an opportunity to play for a gold ball, Thursday night in Irving is going to be really special. And so, I can't tell you enough of how much in debt I am to our seniors and the legacy that they will leave and what they've done for our program, and for them to stick to the standard of what we believe is important. It's hard to put into words, and it's hard to shake their hand and go through that process. And it takes about 10, 15 minutes because they deserve a lot more time than that. But man, a really special evening.
Yeah, neat deal. I was down there on the field, and I resisted the urge to give you some final thoughts prior to kickoff. But that was, and you addressed this at the pep rally, and that was a fun pep rally, big senior pep rally. I thought the glow in the dark stuff was kind of nice. I kind of was hoping you would have like a fluorescent shirt on or something in the whole spirit of that. But that was quite a deal. The back-to-back defending district champs. And of course, y'all will do it. You want it to be a solo outright district champs. You'll take care of that Thursday night in Irving, your third trip to Irving this season. But back-to-back defending district champs, only the second time that's happened since 89-90. And again, and then even into the 90s, Lake Highlands had unbelievable teams. And I was talking to somebody about that. I'm like, how did Stiggers and all those guys, Janafa, all the Ryan Smith, Ben Jenkins, all those greats. How did that? But it was extremely competitive, like it still is in a lot of ways, to get that done. But that you made history, so that had to feel pretty good. And did you kind of address that with the players? I mean, like you said, they may not be into the historical things as much as we are, but you kind of let them know, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think there's multiple ways you can go about it. What I did was I waited until I think Wednesday or Thursday when we had a little team meeting, and just the culmination of the week, and they knew what was at stake. Winning that game on Friday night gives us an opportunity to play for outright district championship, and so I did bring it up, just how special this group is, and wanted them to know, that their hard work is paid off, and kind of let that slip in a team meeting, and it just gave a little bit more, I think, juice
Mhm.
to our effort Friday night.
Yeah, well, you took care of a Richardson team that had some big victories this year, an explosive team at one player. I'll be glad to see him graduate, Crow. But y'all had a great game plan for him. Now, before we jump into the game, everybody's going to be wanting to plan ahead and think about the playoff structure. I think we've just sort of resigned ourselves year after year that it's going to be South Grand Prairie because it's like 5 consecutive seasons. I think there is at least one other possibility in there, but as we sit here, knowing that Lake Highlands is the biggest school in the district, so we'll certainly go into the big school division. What is the most likely opponent, and where will that game be held?
Yeah, so their district is, man, when you look at it, it looks like a Rubik's Cube almost. There's a game Thursday night that has implications. There's a game Friday night that has implications that has to do with Arlington and Arlington Martin playing. And if Arlington Martin wins by 13 points or more, and then it becomes a coin toss. I mean, there's so many different scenarios that you could get into. And so it makes it difficult for us uh, to a certain point because, we're going to send coaches out to scout on Thursday night and to scout on Friday night. And this is not something that we typically do, to go scout the wrong team. But we don't know how the results are going to end up. And so we've kind of got to cover all of our bases. At this point right here, Arlington Bowie is going to be the district champ, it appears. And they are going to be small school.
Okay.
So that wouldn't be anybody we play. And so now Haltom gets in the mix, Arlington High gets in the mix, Arlington Martin gets in the mix, and then South Grand Prairie. So if I had to say, if I had percentage wise, it probably looks like, if the games go like we think they will go on Thursday and Friday night, it could be South Grand Prairie again. But at the same time, we just don't know for sure, which makes it, which will make our Friday unique, because we'll come to work on Friday not knowing who we could play, and until Friday night about 10:30 or 11 o'clock. We're not, which I'll have, I'll have conversations with head coaches in that district about possibilities, but until, late Friday night, we just won't know. Luckily we took care of business.
Yeah.
So they know, where we stand. We just don't know exactly how that district's going to finish.
Is it most likely the following Friday night we would play at our place?
Most likely, yes. That
Okay.
will be, I believe, is that the 15th, November 15th, Friday, November 15th,
Yes.
home playoff game. Not 100% sure yet, but that's kind of what it looks like at this point.
All right. I just hope it doesn't involve any coin flips or anything. I think you've joked about your record at some of those coin flips. So
yeah, I'm not great at that.
yeah, we'll maybe send somebody else out there, although I don't think you're allowed to do that. The game the other night, it was, we mentioned already Damian Crow, who sounds like a character from Justified. I don't know if you ever watched that TV show. The Crow family figured big into that. But, I mean, Speedster has had some great games against you guys. But for the most part, he made one play kind of early, but I think he ended up with like 38 yards overall. Talk about what was the game plan like, and how much was it, hey, we're not going to let this one guy beat us?
Yeah, first off, hats off to Coach Paz and our defensive staff. I think they had a great plan, and I think the plan was not one plan. The plan was multiple, and so we tried to show quite a few different looks. Sometimes it was a disguise, sometimes it was a double coverage, and sometimes it was a bracket. And so, we wanted to be able to show multiple looks. He's one of the best players in the district, in the Metroplex. We've talked about his speed and quickness and what he does with the ball in his hands. We saw that on tape. And so, like I said, hats off to our defensive staff for a great game plan, holding those guys to, basically a late score, in the fourth. Those guys are, they're clicking at the right time. And it was exciting to watch. just especially, I think this is one thing that I always enjoy as a head coach is Monday you put the game plan in, and then Tuesday the kids start to get it, and we watch video and we study it and we tinker with it and make it better and take out what we don't like. And then Wednesday it kind of, it starts to, okay, we see it finalizing, and then Thursday in the walkthrough the kids got it. And
Mhm.
then when you get to Friday night and you roll that out there, and the execution, both, all three phases I thought played really well, defensively, offensively, and then, again, our special teams, Coach Wells, man, we had a huge special teams, and I don't know, I don't want to talk too much about schematics, but we had a huge special teams punt that was converted into a first down on a 4th and 4 that we've been practicing for a while, and it wasn't a fake punt. It just had to do with a little bit of our cadence,
Mhm.
and that was huge because not only was that resulting in the first down, the offense went ahead and went down and scored on that drive. So I thought special teams played really well. Aiden, we were talking to him all week about where we want to kick the ball and the locations and the splash downs and who not to kick it to. And man, he had another great game. So again, it's exciting to watch the culmination of all the work that goes into Friday night late. Coaches are watching our film, and Saturday morning we're really starting to break down the
Mhm.
opponent, getting a lot of data and a lot of information. And then Saturday after lunch, we start to kind of tentatively game plan. And then Sunday that game plan starts to come together. And then Monday we bring it to the kids. And it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, after watching the Cowboys fake punt, um, and the disaster that was, yeah, yours was you all drawing them off sides is a huge play in the game, and I think for the fans and media alike, it's fun to see y'all celebrate on the sideline and then go straight to Coach Wells. He was excited, and it's
Sure.
it's fun. It's when something pays off
Sure.
that you put some work in. It's okay to celebrate a little bit over there. So it's kind of nice. Now, speaking of Aiden, Aiden Webb makes a big play on one of those early drives, and then Aiden Little, who's turned into a playmaker for you. He scoops one up. You talked earlier in the season. You said, "Hey, these guys are coming." I think Osarola was one you mentioned. Aiden Little getting more and more time, and then and slowly but surely, 22 and 26 have joined some guys. And I thought Yanni, who had been banged up and has had his ups and downs this season, made some big plays early in this game back there.
Yeah, I think one of the things is when you start a season, you talk about all these guys that lack experience that played all the games on the JV. Now we're in week 10. They
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
lack that experience
Mm-mm.
anymore, and so that's kind of fun to see, as the season plays out.
All right, you get up 7-0. Christian with a touchdown catch, and then after that, J Ray has a big sack, and and then let's talk about that play, flea flicker. That was fun, and in fact, you had to be kind of watching closely because the way y'all set it up, it was kind of a quick hitter. Boom, he turns around, he gets it back to Harrison quickly, and then what was that flag? On that, I'm trying to think who you threw it to on the catch. Was it? Yeah, it was the flag for a big play. Is that something you've kind of been thinking about and tinkering with, throughout the season? It just felt like the right moment.
Yeah, I think we always kind of go into a game plan on how we're going to approach different teams, and then I think probably in June or July, Coach Haug and I, we spend a lot of time together, and he says, "Hey, look at this. I think this might be something that we can we can do." And then we started looking at it, we started tinkering with it, and then it kind of found its way into a game plan one week. We started repping it. We've been repping some things like that, on and off through the entire season. We just felt like the defense, the look was right,
Mhm.
the situation was right. I think too, people don't talk about situational football too much, but I think there's just certain times where you feel like you wanna fake a punt, and you've been practicing it, and now all of a sudden there's that situation, it arises, and credit to our kids for being able to execute that. And I think that's kind of what the situation called for the other night. When we're talking about safety alignment, we were getting what we want. I think we were in a pro set where we could motion an outside receiver that's got to be off the line. And that movement just allowed us to set up that scheme, and credit to our kids, they executed it.
It's neat to see some of your seniors playing some of the best ball of their careers. Leland's been with you since the sophomore year. He's catching everything. He's getting touchdowns, perimeter blocking. I think DeAnthony gets in on a touchdown. He had a big block out there on the outside for that. I think he enjoys the blocking almost as much as catching the football, and that's kind of rare for a wide receiver. So it just, and then to get it to, and then he had a big college visit over the weekend, which was nice. I think he was in Stephenville for that. But to get it to 24-0, that was big, because you get the ball unexpectedly a little bit. They make an interesting decision around midfield, and then suddenly you've got the ball. And I know your mentality is probably go score a touchdown, but to get points there and to kind of tack on and get that 24-0 lead, that's a great way to go in for what was a little bit longer halftime than usual.
You bet. I think, as I mentioned a while ago, that situational football. So, on Thursdays, we practice, clocking the ball. What we're trying to do is we're out of timeouts. And so we're trying to, intentionally stop the clock. And we've been practicing it all year. The situation hadn't arisen yet. They decide they're going to go for it. We get the ball back with not much time left. We take the ball down, inside the 10, I think, or close to it. And we had no timeouts left. And so our kids went right to it. We clocked the ball, and Coach Wells had the field goal team on the sideline. That's just something that you have to orchestrate. It's not difficult, but it's something that you got to be organized in. You got to practice in. Man, credit to our staff. I thought our communication on the sideline was great. Well, they started talking about a hurry up field goal right when we got the ball at midfield, to drive it down there and to be able to clock the ball, and then to run the field goal team and kick a field goal to end the half, and to send that thing 24-0 was huge. And again, as a credit to our kids, they were locked in. They knew exactly what we wanted to do, and they went out there and executed it.
All right. Some interesting, I think one of the things you were doing, I don't want to get you too much into the officiating thing, but there were some, I just think as a coach, if you're going to call PI, you just want to kind of see it called consistently. Sure. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, I think, coaches, in whatever sport they're coaching, will tell you there's a strategy, a little bit of a strategy on, maybe a call that didn't go your way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe later in the game, you feel like that maybe that'll come back around. And so you want to kind of grab their attention. Mm-hmm. We did feel like that there was a couple calls on pass interference that were guys that were the side judge that was on their sideline made the call. And I just wanted to know, where, what did he see? And then we felt like we had Jordan streaking down the middle on a glance route, and we didn't get the same call, on the flip side. And so that was my frustration. But you're gonna have time, calls like that and games like that. And so my challenge to the kids and to our staff is, once it's over, let me kind of be the one that can handle that, and then we need to move on, because the last thing we want is we want to put our kids in a situation where they're getting caught up. I just want them to play. I want them to play next play mentality, not get caught up in that world.
Yeah, I feel like you express yourself pretty well to the officials there, and on the what was the, by the way, on the, I think some of us might have missed it on the block kick, which looked like there was a little issue there just with the whole operation. Mm-hmm. Was there a block in the back or something that you felt like they missed on the return?
Yeah. So. Okay. Well, one of the things that happens, and it's natural. I mean, as coaches, we talk about early in the spring ball, and then getting into the off season, and then the season. One of the things I think that it's my job, and some of our veteran coaches' job to do, is, if you coach offensive line, or you coach secondary, or you coach whatever it is, that you're really focused on your job, not watching the football. And I think that's probably where, fans and things like that, you get your eyes not trained like a coach. And so you watch the ball all the time. And in baseball, you watch the ball all the time. You don't watch the guy in right field, his stance and how he's playing a guy that likes to hit the ball down the line and is always a pull hitter and all this stuff. You're not watching that guy. And so as a coach, you're training your staff, you're training your players to we're going to watch these two guards. If you're a linebacker, we're not going to watch the ball. And I was a little frustrated. I thought when the kick was blocked and they started returning it, I thought all eyes went on the ball. We tell our kids and our coaches, we're not going to watch the ball. We're going to watch our assignment. And I felt like that, yeah, they missed a big one right in the back, right in front of our bench and that's the answer that I got, is, oh, we didn't see it. We were watching the ball. And so again, just a part of the game where, it was intense. We had a lot to play for. And at the end of the day, I was just asking who was supposed to be watching.
Oh, yeah, good. Just getting some good feedback. My father, who played college football at Baylor, for some reason, every game he attends, he was with me the other night. He wants to know, Matt, what chapter are these guys from? He's always curious because he came up in East Texas, so it's probably the Tyler chapter, and so he's always has a great interest in which chapter is represented for the officials. All right, so let's get to our. And one play in particular, I wish you had those gauges and you'll get a kick out of this. I told one college recruiter that by the Mosley eye test, Christian had hit 22.8 miles per hour on that 55-yard touchdown. But I mean, that was a deal where he got in the open, and that was a chance to see, my goodness. Yes. I mean, there was nobody that was going to catch him. So I thought that was one of the best chances we've had this year to just see the pure speed on display. What would your eyes tell you? Like, what do you think he maxed out at there?
Yeah, I would say no. We don't have the technology or the funds, resources, probably that some of these colleges.
Talk to the Wildcat Club. Yeah.
Of 22.8, but I don't think there's any doubt when we got in a 3-by-1 set and we felt like the box was a little thin. We'd been practicing that look and we got what we wanted. And when he turned it on, I mean, there wasn't any doubt. And Christian's fast. He's 4'4", 4'5" kid in a 210-pound body. So it was fun to see. I rewound it a couple times on the video to but it looked pretty good from where I was at.
Okay. So I'm 22.8. That's not maybe something. I'm maybe onto something there. All right, let's get in. While I'm thinking about it, a couple things. Bob Johnston was not at his usual perch as the voice of the Wildcats up doing the PA, and has an illness, and so we're thinking about Bob. We need to get him back in that press box, and as you might guess, he was trying to get back in there, and I think maybe his wife and the doctors told him that wasn't the best thing. But Doug Williams filled in and had a lot of duties because there were so many things to announce. Did a great job, and then Steve Brooks, of course, is up there. So those guys filled in admirably. But we wish our best to Bob. And I wanted to, while I'm thinking about it, Ashley Westfall is someone from the Wildcat Club that posts all these things and gets all our stuff on social media, because if it was up to the two of us, none of this would ever, I mean, as Cory could tell you, it's a shock that I can get this filmed each week. But thanks to Rogue Media Network and that whole gang. But Ashley Westfall does a great job and gets everything up, posted, Wendy, the whole gang. So yeah, we appreciate that.
There's such a group behind the scenes that does so much for us. We're so grateful. I barely know how to turn the computer on, so that's definitely not in my world.
You've shown to be pretty good on the set, kind of arranging things. Okay, let's do our offensive, defensive player of the week, and of course the unsung hero. Let's start with the offense.
Okay, well, offensively, there's a couple guys I want to mention. One, Harrison Day, I thought played one of his better games, accounted for almost 300 yards of offense, had 4 touchdown throws. I think one of the things that kind of goes unnoticed is his ability to extend the play. And he really did that for us Friday night in several different instances, which was really big for us. And we've talked about it all year, man. There's nobody else I'd want to go to war with than that dude. He's just the ultimate competitor, and it's really fun watching him play. But I thought up front we played pretty well. We got the ball in multiple receivers' hands, but I think as a staff, when we stepped down and graded the video, our offensive player of the game was Leland Germany. Probably played maybe his best game that he's ever played in a Wildcat uniform. Yeah, sure, he made some catches. I think he had 8 or 9 catches and a touchdown, but he's super smart. And about in week 4, offensive line coaches came to me and said, "Hey, we'd really like to do some tight ends because of the look we're getting versus Jesuit or Pierce or whoever it is." And so we started to mess around with that a little bit in the bye week. And we've run some tight end before, but tight end requires personnel. We don't get to recruit them, and so if you got a guy on your roster that you feel like can do that, you may be more apt to do that. And so we kind of took that to Leland. He had done a little bit of that type of stuff, that H-back stuff, his sophomore year. And when you start putting another body in the offensive line, the blocking schemes can get complicated, and man, he picked it up like that. He's been, a Swiss Army knife there. And then he goes outside and plays receiver. The one catch on the sideline on the choice scheme we ran, his big 6'4" frame, he goes up and climbs the ladder, makes a great catch. Just a joy to be around. We practiced this morning at 6 a.m. And he was getting after it this morning, and just super proud of him and what he's accomplished. And we're going to need him going forward, in playoffs.
All right. And man, he's a guy that he needs to keep playing. I mean, he's only going to get better. And I tell people he's 6'5", so if you'll back me up on that. Now, defensive player of the game. And you had a lot of, Peyton early made some plays. Nicholson, I saw Odalami got a lot of penetration early, and then you had big sack from J-Ray early in the game. So you had a lot of different directions you could go here.
Yeah, I think, there definitely defensively, there were a lot of guys that stood out. I mean, when you talk about defending Damian Crow, I thought Webb and Little and Hollywood, they executed the game plan really well. Up front, we were able to get after the quarterback a little bit and pressure him. They had to get the ball out of their hands a little quicker than maybe they wanted to. But defensively, it was pretty easy. Ryan Sherrado was our defensive player of the week, had 12 solo tackles. That's pretty big. Had 3 or 4 more assisted. So you're talking about, 15 total tackles. Had a couple quarterback hurries and just all over the place, and just been such a just consistent player all year long. And he's kind of the lifeblood of our defense. He's done it for I guess we're talking 20 plus ball games now. And just he brings it on Friday night, and so fun to watch. So super proud of him.
All right, and boy, he's been, again, these guys have been, it feels like they've been in your program forever, because
Sure.
some of them have been playing since their sophomore year. Your unsung hero award winner for this week.
Okay, we're going to switch gears here a little bit. Unsung hero. This morning, again, I mentioned that we practiced super early. Had to get the coaches off to some meetings they need to be at throughout the day. And, I come off the practice field, and there's so many things that need to be done this time of year. Whether you're talking about, district certifications, you're talking about, it's not very far from, we have to start looking at grade point averages for academic all-state and playoff round 1, scenarios that we've got to look at. And so this woman basically runs our program. She knows the ins and outs of about everything that happens. So our unsung hero award winner is going to be Miss Bryn Volkmer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well deserved.
She, like I said, she understands kind of what we do a little bit more than people might realize. And so, this morning they were in there and they were designing the playoff T-shirt and just so many different things that she does to take care of our program. And then on top of that, she has to put up with our football staff, and so sometimes that can be rough.
That is, but yeah, she keeps things going, does a great job, and I wish we could just, she's right down the hall. We should just bring her on camera. She might not like that.
Yeah, she probably wouldn't appreciate that very much.
Although, she was like a big time cheerleader, and she's been a cheerleading coach and all that. She probably doesn't mind being on film. Okay, all of that good stuff. Let's look ahead. Need to get this last win to have no blemishes on your district record, and it happens in Irving. Third trip over to Irving. Ralph and Joy Ellis Stadium. I basically I just live over there at this point. But that'll, you get it done. It's going to be an interesting deal because obviously you'll be favored heavily. So how do you kind of balance things on Thursday between the need to maybe rest some people, but also wanting to stay sharp? The whole rust versus rest, the eternal argument. How do you balance that?
Yeah, for us, we're just gonna kind of dance with who brung us top deal. Our mentality's been, we need to be 1-0 this week, and I know that people get tired of hearing that. Sometimes our kids get tired of me talking about that. But at the same time, I think we have a lot to play for. An outright district title. I told the staff Friday night with that opportunity. I've been coaching 25 years, and it's not just something that happens every year, and that's a credit to our staff and our players. And, I want them to be able to enjoy that. So, to me, we have a lot to play for. We need to go out and take care of business. If we're able to do that, then, we always talk about we're going to get other kids involved and let them get out there and do their thing and the amount of time that they've put in. And so, and then when you look up, I think there's also an argument. I don't talk to the kids about this too much, but I think there's a Monday. What is today? November 7th, 4th, or whatever it is. Somebody is getting better on November 4th. And are we going to be that team, or is that going to be, South Grand Prairie or Arlington Martin or Coppell or Allen or, and so we want to have that mentality that we're getting better. And so that's kind of the mentality we're going to take into the game.
All right, we'll see you Thursday night for that matchup. Glenn Gant always provides some nice historical perspective, and so our throwback is to a game in 1981, and that would have been the Wildcats' big win. That's Joe Bob Johnson's team, and I like the senior halfback Alvin Rettig, who went to Rice and then also played for the Detroit Drive. And what is that, Arena? He's in the Arena Football Hall of Fame. I like that. He rushed for 121 and 22 carries. The wing T offense, as Glenn puts it, had quick-footed offensive linemen. Now, this is a name you'll know. Senior offensive tackle Tony Licio Jr., whose father was a great player for the Dallas Cowboys and blocked for Roger Staubach. So that was a good guy to have on the line. Senior offensive tackle Mark Graham, who went on to play at A&M, along with senior fullback Jay Allen. So that's some big-time wing T. You may bring some of those concepts back heading into the playoffs here. And early on in that game, senior quarterback Steve Hurst found Scott Johnson for a 17-yard pass. And then I love this. The secondary was called themselves the Soul Patrol, and that was Redding. That was Jefferson. Aaron Grant, who went on to play for Baylor, and I met him when I was a kid. Grant Taft brought him to Park Cities Baptist for some kind of get together, and of course I was in attendance for that. And then Wendell Yancey, who went on to play at Oklahoma State, limited Irving to only 72 yards passing on the night. So the Soul Patrol was doing a nice job, and that was a 39-20 victory in what became a magical 1981 season. You'll remember what happened at the end of that season, and I think we're due another one of those. But this is going to be fun, man. Get it done this Thursday, and then we get excited about the playoffs. And I would say everybody right now has to be in a really good frame of mind.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, we talked about, you put the amount of work and time that our kids and coaches put into this, and, to have an opportunity to be where we wanted to be, a win Friday night, we end the season at 8-2. We're not going to go back and the last play against Flower Mound, 2 minutes left against Forney. coaches were talking about, the opportunity to be 10-0. And so we're just super proud of our kids and how they've handled it. And then, there's a reason we do we do this. And so I told the kids, you give an opportunity to be involved in something you'll never forget. And so, we're gonna go out and go to work, and we're gonna see what happens.
Were you an academic all-state guy back in the day? Did you?
I don't. It's been a long
Archer
time.
City. I think you may have been. I think you're being modest.
It's
perhaps.
been a long time ago. So you probably don't want to know how many people were in that graduating class. So, but we'll leave it at under 50. How about that?
You did come from a community that valued reading and books, right?
There you go.
Is it the home of Larry McMurtry?
Something like that.
Okay. Okay. Don't play that down. I mean, that's a very exciting thing. It is the Boneyard Podcast. And for Cory Campbell, I'm Matt Mosley. We will see you next week at the Boneyard.
We are Rogue Media Sports.